Hello everyone, so this is Paul um, from Traction School of Governance and Business under the Department of ICT, where we offer various courses such as data analytics, that is quantitative data analysis, qualitative data analysis, data science, machine learning, AI, software development, web development, graphic design. And you realize this is the department that most of you are actually supposed to be eager to join and pursue these courses, because they are one of the instruments that you need to build your foundation in the tech world. Basically, some are foundational and others are advanced. So if you are trying to, or rather you want to upscale, you want to rescale, or you want to dive into the tech world, so Traction School of Governance and Business, School of ICT is the place to go. Visit our website at www.sgb.ac.ke to see variety of courses that we offer in the School of ICT. We are actually located in Nairobi, Moi Avenue, Pioneer House, 5th floor. If you want to email us, you can email us via info@sgb.ac.ke. Let me write that. Let me write the email so that you can see. So we are going to merge these cells and yes. So it's www. Actually, it's the email. It's info@sgb.ac.ke. So that is our email, or you can visit our website at www.sgb.ac.ke. So basically, we're here to cover or look some of the branches in data analytics using Excel. So this is advanced Excel course. So I want us to look at some of the branches. So we'll be dealing with how you can come up with an interactive dashboard. And remember, a dashboard is actually a compilation of charts, or rather it's a compilation of charts, where those charts represents a summary of a certain survey that you've done from your data. So here I have data. This is a financial data. It's a data that was collected from 2023 up to 2025. This is the price of gold. We have the price of gold for the 3 years. We have the opening price for each and every day, the highest price for each and every day, the lowest price for each and every day, and we have the volume that was traded in that certain day, and also we have the percentage change from the previous day. And remember, we're supposed to have two prices. We must have an open price and a closed price. So you realize from the variables here, from the header variables, we really don't have the closed price. And basically, I want to confirm to you that the price, it's not a must it be labeled closing price, but basically the price itself is what we refer to as the closing price. So we want us to create a dashboard. Remember, this is in courtesy of Traction School of Governance and Business. So first thing first, before you actually decide to come up with an interactive dashboard, you must first do the analysis. And how do you do the analysis? First of all, there are things that you're supposed to consider. First of all is cleaning your data. You cannot work with an unclean data. You need to clean your data first, and by cleaning I mean getting rid of the blank spaces, getting rid of the outliers, that is the extreme values, extreme high values and extreme low values. That is cleaning. And also getting rid of the inconsistent value. So I want us to first try to look whether we have blank spaces, and basically this is advanced analytics. So you're not supposed to go cell by cell, row by row, column by column, trying to locate a blank cell. So what you do, you'll basically have to my mouse, okay. You will basically have to create what we refer to as actually, before you even create a pivot table, you're supposed to filter your data. So that it can give you a summary or a brief overview of the whole data, where you'll be able to see the amount or the number of blank spaces that you have in each and every column. And how do you do that? You'll basically have to Control A, highlight your data. You can actually click left click and drag from the very first cell all the way to the last item of this data. Or else, if you don't want to basically click and drag, you can actually use a shortcut key to highlight all of this data, and the shortcut key is Control A. Once you click Control A, your data will be highlighted. And now we can now go to what we refer to as sorting and filter. And how do you do that? We want to use actually a pivot table that will give us a summary of this data. So let's go. We'll go to insert. Click insert, and then what we want to do, we want to sort and filter. We want to sort our data and filter our data so that we can have an overview of the blank spaces, or rather we can see the number of blank spaces that we have in our data. Else, rather than actually creating a pivot table is another way. There is also another way that you can filter and sort your data. That is, we are actually going to come back to the pivot table, because we cannot actually do the analysis and the dashboarding without applying the pivot table. So let us first use the easiest way. That is, you highlight the whole of your data, you right click and then select filter. And for sorting, you use sorting when you want to actually arrange your data in an either ascending manner or descending manner. But realize here you want to be systematic, because whatever is guiding us is the date. We have today, yesterday, the day before yesterday. So that is how our data has been arranged. So we are not going to use the sort and filter, the sort function. We are only going to, or rather our interest is in filter function. So once you click filter, you realize there is something that has happened to the header names. We actually initially we never had these drop downs at the bottom right corner of each and every cell in the header row. But now, after applying the filter function, we can now see the drop downs have actually have actually appeared in these cells. So what we want to do, we want to look for blank spaces, and you're going to start with date. You'll click date. You realize all the years have been included, and you realize for each and every year, for example, for 2025, it actually constitutes 30.3% of the whole data. For 2024, constitutes 35.1% of the whole data, and then for 2023, it constitutes 34.5% of the whole data. And now you might be asking yourself, years have 365 or 366 days. Why is it that the data is not uniformly distributed? You realize for this one, for 2023, it's supposed to be 34.5%. For 2024, remember, it's a leap year, so we are supposed to have an extra day. That is the reason as to why you can see that its percentage is a bit higher. For 2025, currently the data is from January up to November, date 7. So the year is not over yet. That is the reason as to why it has been underrepresented. So we don't have any blank spaces for date. For price, we are going to swipe or scroll down all the way to the last item, and you realize that the last item, if you see that the last item is a value, it means that the data has no blank spaces. We go to high, actually to open, not high, open. We scroll all the way to the last item. You realize we have no blank spaces, and then we go to high. Basically, by default, you realize if we have a price, closing price, and the opening price, we are not supposed to have any missing data in high and low prices. So we by default, we are not supposed to have that. As you can see, I've confirmed there is no blank spaces or empty cell. Same case applies to the lowest price. And then when it comes to volume, you're going to scroll down all the way. Sorry. Let me. Okay. Volume, and then we scroll all the way to the last item. Yes, you can see that we have 3 blank spaces, or rather 3 blank cells. 3 blank cells. What we want to do, let me first show you something before we get rid of the blank spaces. So I'm going to click on price. You realize we have 732 items. 732 items. When we come to the volume, we also have 732 items. That is inclusion of the blank spaces. Now what do we want to do? We want to get rid of the blank spaces so that we can make our analysis easier. So you're going to uncheck. You're going to uncheck this blank. You're going to uncheck this blank cells, and then click OK. And you can see basically this key implying that filter has been applied. So if you open for low and try to look at the total data, you realize we now have 729, implying that 3 items have been omitted to make our analysis easier. Now, having filtered our data, that is the very first thing that you're supposed to do, cleaning your data and ensuring that you don't have any blank space or inconsistent values. Inconsistent values include the outliers, extreme values, and extreme high values and extreme low values. But for this case, we're not supposed to get rid of the extreme values, because the value that has been highlighted, or rather the price that has been highlighted in column B is actually consistent, because there is no single time we had price of gold being 3,000 and then it hikes all the way to 10,000. So this is a consistent data. Now what we want to do next, now that we've cleaned our data, we're going to dive now into the analysis part. So what you do, you highlight your data and then go to insert. Let me use my pen. So you're going to select insert, and then what we want to use the pivot table. We must create a table for our data so that our work can be easier. So you're going to click insert and then select pivot table, the very first item in the ribbon tab. So you select pivot table that way, and then you realize we now have a pop-up asking you, do you want to create a table for your data? So basically this is these are the addresses. These are the addresses of the whole data. That is the range that you want to use. Again, omit these ones. So they are not of use as of now, because they're actually asking you, do you want to either consolidate multiple ranges, or do you want to use an external data source? Now that we have our data in Excel, we actually don't require the three options. And then for the last item, we don't want to create a pivot table in the existing sheet, because we don't want to interfere with the original data. We want to create a table in another working or other worksheet. So we're going to select the new worksheet and then click OK. Once you do that, this is what we now refer to as the pivot table. And some of the attributes that we have for the pivot table, we have the pivot list, we have the pivot table areas, and also let me get this back. Let me try to yes. For the field list, we have this section where our data has been compiled in one place, so that we can access any variable from the data that we want without us being required to go back to the initial data and grab some data. For the pivot table areas, we have the filter. This area is used when you want to filter your data. For example, assuming that you have a weekly data, you have a weekly data, and now what you want to do, an analysis of data from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you want to get rid of Thursday and Friday. This is where you will now basically drag and drop your variable and then do or apply the filter. For example, let me drag this one. And one thing that you're supposed to note, if you want to bring or rather to include a variable in this area, you basically left click your mouse and hold, and then drag all the way to the area that you want to put that data in. Now that we've included our date in the filter function, or rather in the filter area, this is what you do. You realize that once you include any variable in these areas, it will be reflected to your left hand side, or rather to the left side of your screen. Now what do you want to do? We want to filter our data. Currently all the data have been included, that is 2023, 2024 and 2025. So if you want to work with 2025 alone, you're going to click this drop down. You click on this drop down, and then you're going to deselect the years that you're not interested in. Let us get rid of 2025 and 2023, and then you click OK. Now we've now filtered our data, and everything that you're going to see from this area will be data from 2024. Having done that, we want to look at the closing price. And remember I said price is one and the same thing with the closing price. So we are going to look for this item. So you're going to left click and hold, and then drag all the way to the values. Drag all the way to the values. I hope we are together up to that point, and you realize that the summation, or rather everything that you are going to get here will be the summation of the whole year. Summation of the whole year. And one thing that you're supposed to note, the filter, the column, and the row, rather items that we include in the three areas are should be variables, but whatever item we include in this values area should be numeric. A variable that has values, or rather a variable that its items are actually values, integers, and sort. Having done that, we want to basically, let me revert back. We want to include all of these years, 2023 and 2025. Click OK. We don't want these ones. We want the dates to be in rows, that way, and then we want the prices to be we want the prices of each and every date. Prices of each and every date. Supposed to be in columns. Remember, you're supposed to organize your data in such a way that it's actually consistent with or rather its outlook is actually perfect. So what we do, you just pick your dates to the filter. Let's make our work easier, because you realize if you're going to deal with 2023, 2024, and 2025, we're going to have a lot of data, and we want to basically make our work easier. So price should be that way.